It was a $12.5 million lottery ticket, and now the million-dollar question: where's the money? 7 years ago, a Toronto area family allegedly stole a ticket and cashed in the prize money from the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation. Now, CBC News has learned that a lawsuit has been filed to try to recover the millions. But as our senior investigative correspondent, Diana Swain, explains, it may be too late.
What would you do if you won $12.5 million? Kathleen Chung helped her brother Kenneth and their parents trade up, buying more than $10 million worth of properties around the Toronto area. Now, OLG, which has long suspected the family stole its winning ticket, wants its money back. But there's a problem. When police charged the Chungs last year with money laundering, among other offenses, it seized the properties and the courts ordered most of them sold. But it turns out that's not where the money is. The properties had been heavily mortgaged by the time police moved in. Ontario's ombudsman raised questions about the win back in 2007.
Retailers claiming tickets were liars.
And he urged OLG to move quickly to retrieve the money. 2 years later, he was still pressing the point.
I believe that the OLG should be suing them to recover the money in civil courts at the very least.
Now, court documents obtained by CBC News show police believe the family made 17 wire transfers of money to South Korea in the months after the Ombudsman's report, moving $3.2 million offshore.
In terms of the process,
we showed forensic accountant Marilyn Abate the statement of claim OLG has filed against the Chungs.
It looks like they've been sophisticated enough to expect people coming after them, and they've hid it somewhere else.
Abate says if the money's offshore now, OLG could be out of luck.
You have to be quick to get the money. So the longer you wait, the more difficult it gets to trace the money and to actually find it sitting there at the end. You have to think they've had 7 years to try and hide it and transfer it to different accounts, different jurisdictions, into different properties, or spend it.
And the OLG has most definitely not been quick. A CBC Fifth Estate investigation several years ago showed OLG had doubts about the family's win and said so in an internal email before paying out. An OLG executive wrote, "Sometimes you hold your nose and pay." That was in 2004. But it wasn't until this year that OLG filed its claim, more than 6 years after paying out the ticket. In a statement to CBC News, OLG said it considered all legal remedies, but did not want to prejudice the OPP investigation surrounding this case.
So, what are the Chungs saying now?
Kathleen Chung has filed a statement of defense, Peter. She says she didn't know the ticket was stolen. In fact, she's now pointing a finger of blame toward her father and her brother. She's, in fact, countersuing them for $12.5 million. But most interestingly, she raises the issue of a statute of limitations on this, and she says it has long run out. OLG is out of luck.
And how is that going to fly?
Well, it's interesting because the statute of limitations is 2 years. So if you say that the clock started ticking when the payout happened in 2004, it ran out years ago. OLG may be taking the position in court that the clock started ticking when the OPP charged this family last year, but it's going to be up to a judge to decide that one.
What's the math on this? What's all this adding up to now?
Well, you start with the $12.5 million paid out to the Chungs, and then you had OLG and OPP, Ontario Provincial Police, looking for the rightful winners. They gave them $12.5 million earlier this year, plus interest. Then you've got the legal fees. We're now somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 million on a $12.5 million ticket. And OLG, like most lotteries in the country, is a Crown corporation, so we're talking about public money.
All right. Diana, thanks very much. Diana Swain.